Well, how's it going, everybody? It's Thursday night. Welcome back to another edition of MrErikReads. And as you can tell, the guest readers continue to multiply. Behind me is my daughter Delaney, and next to me is my son Barrett. They're here to help me out reading a book that's the sequel, which means the second installment, the second episode, the second book, if you will, of one of my all-time favorites, the Gruffalo. And this one, by Julia Donaldson, is called The Gruffalo's Child. I wonder what the Gruffalo's child is going to learn. Let's find out on Mr. Eric Reads. The Gruffalo said no Gruffalo should ever set foot in the deep dark wood.
Why not? Why not?
Because if you do, the big bad mouse will be after you. I met him once, said the Gruffalo. I met him a long, long time ago.
What does he look like? Tell me, Dad. Is he terribly big and terribly bad?
I can't quite remember, the Gruffalo said, and then he thought for a minute, and he scratched his head. The big bad mouse is terribly strong. His scaly tail is terribly long. His eyes are like a pool of terrible fire, and his terrible whiskers are tougher than wire. So one snowy night, while the Gruffalo snored, the Gruffalo's child was feeling bored. The Gruffalo's child was feeling brave, so she tiptoed out of the Gruffalo cave. The snow fell fast and the wind blew wild, but into the wood went the Gruffalo's child. Aha! Oh! A trail in the snow. Who is this trail and where does it go? A tail poked out of a log pile house. Could this be the tail of the big bad mouse? Out slid the creature. His eyes were small, and he didn't have whiskers. No, none at all.
You're not the mouse.
No, said the snake.
He's down by the lake eating Gruffalo cake.
The snow fell fast and the wind blew wild.
I'm not scared,
said the Gruffalo's child.
Dad, that's dangerous to go out in the woods by yourself.
It sure is. Aha! Aho! Marks in the snow. Whose are these claws? And where do they go? Two eyes gleamed out of a treetop house. Could these be the eyes of the big, bad mouse? Down flew a creature. His tail was short, and he didn't have whiskers of any sort.
You're not the mouse.
To-hoo! Not I, but he's somewhere nearby, eating Gruffalo pie. The snow fell fast, and the wind blew wild.
I'm not scared,
said the Gruffalo's child. Aha! Aho! A track in the snow! Whose is this track and where does it go? Whiskers at last! In an underground house, could this be the home of the big bad mouse?
It's not Eddie.
Out slunk the creature. His eyes weren't fiery, his tail wasn't scaly, and his whiskers weren't wily.
You're not the mouse.
Oh, me? Not me. He's under a tree, drinking Gruffalo tea.
It's all a trick,
said the Gruffalo's child, as she sat on a stump while the snow lay piled.
I believe it's a big bad mouse. But here comes a little one out of his house. Not big, not bad, but a mouse at least. He'll taste good at midnight feast.
"Wait," said the mouse. "Before you eat, there's a friend of mine that you ought to meet. If you'll let me hop on the hazel twig, I'll beckon my friend, so bad and big." The Gruffalo's child unclenched her fist.
The big bad mouse. So he does exist.
The mouse hopped up into a hazel tree, and he beckoned and said, "Just wait and see." Out came the moon. It was bright and round, and a terrible shadow fell onto the ground. Who is this creature so big, bad, and strong? His tail and his whiskers are terribly long. His ears are enormous, and over his shoulder he carries a nut as big as a boulder.
The big bad mouse!
Yelled the Gruffalo's child. The mouse jumped down from the twig and smiled. "Ha ha! Aho! Prints in the snow. Whose are these footprints, and where do they go?" The footprints led to the Gruffalo's cave, where the Gruffalo's child was a little less brave. The Gruffalo's child was a little less bored. And the Gruffalo snored and snored and snored.
The end.
The Gruffalo's Child, again by Julia Donaldson, right here on Mr. Eric Reads. Thank you again to Barrett and Delaney for helping me out with a classic book that follows up. Remember, that's called the sequel to our first one called The Gruffalo by Julia Donaldson. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Friday is tomorrow. Close out the week on a good note. Let's do it. Close it out. Let's have a great night tonight, a great day tomorrow. Go into a 3-day weekend, relax and refreshed. Bring 2 things tomorrow: good effort, good attitude. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the hallways.